Hi, I'm Katie.
I'm Steve.
And we're from Trail Less Traveled.
We're here to talk to you today about the Hensley Hitch.
Yeah, we've had it for 1 whole year now, so we wanted to tell you guys what we thought about it.
Today we'll just go over the pros and cons of the Hensley Hitch and tell you how well it's worked for us.
Or not.
Or not.
Stay tuned. So the Hensley Hitch is a little bit of an investment. It's not a cheap hitch, and when we were looking to buy it, there was not a lot of reviews after the fact of people who had been using it for a while. You could go search and ask people and find people that would say that they would like it, but nobody that had, really actually sat down and talked about it, talked about the things that they liked and that they didn't like. So we wanted to be sure to do that for you if you are looking to invest in a hitch, the Hensley Hitch, because it is an investment. You kind of know some of the pros and cons and our opinion of it.
So we had an equalizer hitch, and so we went from that to this one. The Hensley Hitch is supposed to completely eliminate sway. The equalizer hitch doesn't necessarily completely get rid of sway. It evenly distributes the weight throughout the truck, and so I feel like we're a good couple to compare that to both of those. And the two rigs that we've had that we've utilized the equalizer hitch on, this one currently that we have the Hensley Hitch on, and a prior one we also utilized that equalizer hitch on. So,
and we have also used the Hensley on multiple tow vehicles, so we've had experience with more than just, because we have an F350 right now, so you could arguably say, well, that can handle anything you want it to tow, but we have had it on a 2002 Ford Excursion and then also a 2017 Ford F350. So we've had it on multiple tow vehicles. So let's talk about the pros and the cons. Installation process of the Hensley versus an equalizer hitch.
Well, coming from the equalizer hitch, I knew the ins and outs of that, so it's hard to say 100% that the Hensley Hitch is just so foreign. Putting it together, it definitely was a little bit different, but in the end, anytime you install something, you really get a good idea of what it is and how it works, and so I enjoy that process. But anyways, it's definitely a little bit more involved, long story short. Yeah, so you could say that the installation of it is a little bit of a con, but honestly, you put it on once, and then the other side of it is, if you watched our hook and unhook video, that process is super easy once you get it down, once you understand it. It is definitely a little bit easier than the equalizer hitch, that you have to take those bars off each time, because the weight distribution part of this hitch actually just stays on the trailer.
Even though the installation is maybe a little bit more involved, once it's on, you're done messing with it.
The other side of it, the con, would be how much it cost. It is 3-4 times the amount of an equalizer hitch. That's something you gotta...
Is it in your budget or not?
Yeah. You can look for used ones and find them probably for about half of what they are new. But, that's if you want to take a chance on that. That's totally up to you. Depends how familiar you are with it, too. If you know the Hensley Hitch, like now that I know what it is, I feel like I could go purchase a used one. But I didn't in the beginning, and so I wanted to work with them at Hensley too, and they were great. They'd answer any questions that you have. So
yeah, and we're big on trying to find things that are brands that are going to be good quality and that are going to have good customer service. It's one of the reasons why we picked a Grand Design for our camper, is because we wanted to have good customer service and a good quality product, and we felt that with Hensley, that is what we had heard, and we have found that to be true about Hensley.
Yeah, the stinger part of it, if you need a different stinger, they'll send you out a new one. They're really good about that. Just communicating with them, and they'll answer any questions that you have and tell you how to fix it.
Yeah.
So
if you are still experiencing sway, like they will troubleshoot with you to try to figure it out, because, you know, this is their thing. They take out the sway, and if it's not working for you, then they will help you figure out what's not set up right or what needs to be changed so that it works for you and your rig. So
yeah, and that would be the other, what I was talking about a little bit earlier, about it being a little bit more involved. That's exactly what it is. If it's not set up right, you are going to have sway with it. If it's set up correctly, you don't have any sway.
Hooking up and unhooking, how does that compare to a regular weight distribution hitch?
If you ask me, it's easier. There's a couple little intricacies that you should know about.
It's easier once you have it down.
Yeah.
There's a learning curve. There's definitely a learning curve.
Yeah. I mean, just like with the equalizer hitch, too, if you haven't ever utilized one of those, there's definitely a learning curve with that, too. Yeah. So, once you get it down, this is a lot easier. You're not having to lug heavy stuff around, anything like that. So, that's huge.
You know, if you go to the hook and unhook video that we have for the Hensley hitch, which we'll link in the iCard, then we'll give you the tips and tricks that we have learned to make it easier so that you get that process down right away. Having lubrication for the stinger is probably the biggest piece of the puzzle, because if you don't, it does get stuck. So you want to make sure that you have some lubrication for the stinger. But once you have that down, I would agree that it is easier. One con with the unhooking is learning to keep your hands out of the way in case the over-center latch is under pressure. When you pop it off, we have both crushed our hands. We did not injure ourselves, but it feels like you broke your hand for a while. So just making sure that as you're pulling the latch back, that you're not putting your hand between the frame of the camper and the bar, because it hurts if you smash your hand.
What ends up happening with that is the vehicle and the camper separate. If there's any sort of play in between those two, that's when it swings a wrench around and your hand gets caught in there.
Yeah.
So there's a little tip on how to make sure that they stay together. We give that in the hook and unhook video. So
yeah. And again, it's just a little bit of a learning curve. And now that we know that, it hasn't happened since we've figured it out. So
still a little gun shy.
Yeah. We both are always like, but it is not a big enough con to not use.
It's just something you gotta be aware of.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Don't hurt yourself.
Yeah.
Learn from us.
So. The weight distribution side of it is nice because you can adjust your ride how you want, and it has 3 notches on there, one for more soft, one for a little bit more rigid, and then super rigid, the third one. We've done all 3 of them, and we like it about in between the first and the second is the best ride for our vehicle, and that may change for different vehicles.
Yeah, it's a personal preference piece, and it's something that, you know, once you've tried them all out, you know, and then you just go to that spot every time, and then it gets easier and easier because as the paint kind of wears down on the jack, you can see exactly where you want to stop, and you don't have to kind of guess, is this the spot? I mean, you get to the point where it's really easy to do that part.
To compare it to the equalizer hitch, you preset that with your brackets before you hook it up the first time. This one's a little bit more fluid with that. You can set the tension on it each time. So.
Which is nice, because, you know, if you don't know, because then it's easier to change it if you don't like the way that it's writing. So, as far as eliminating the sway, we have driven this 37-foot travel trailer during a wind advisory and did not have sway. My parents, who have a 5th wheel, were driving with us, and they were ready to pull over before we were, which with a bumper pull trailer, that's insane. Like, we should have a long time before then been like, it's time to get off the highway, but we were just solid going down the road, and it was not causing us any problems. It's also a pro if you are a a weekend warrior and you have to get back home and go to work on Monday, and just because it's windy you can't sit in one spot and wait for the wind to die down. I mean, there's people that say 30 miles an hour is it. Our experience has been that with the Hensley we have been able to drive even on a windier day. So I guess let's just ask the question flat out and make sure we get this answer on here. Does the Hensley hitch completely eliminate sway?
Yes.
Yes, I would agree too. It's even more comfortable for the passenger. You know, when we had the weight distribution hitch, there was times when I was white knuckling it. I could not. I was like, oh, you're all over the road. But with the Hensley, I have, with the exception of when we had a learning curve, and it was on the Ford Excursion, and we had the Stinger in upside down, and it was a pretty windy day, and we were having a lot of problems then. But we did not have the hitch installed correctly, so that was our biggest
there was two components there.
Yeah.
So once it was set up correctly, there's no sway.
Yes. So if you are experiencing sway, do not give up.
Yeah, there you go.
Continue to make adjustments until you get to the point where you do not have sway, because we have a 37-foot travel trailer. If it can keep the sway out of this thing, it can handle it, you know? So would you buy the Hensley again if you had to?
For ease of use, safety, I should say yes. The only reason I would say no is because of the cost.
This is the one spot where we differ, because I am the mom and my babies are in the car with us when we are pulling this rig, and I want it to be as safe as possible. Not that the weight distribution hitches aren't safe. I just feel more comfortable with the Hensley. I don't feel the movement of the trailer. I feel like it's solid behind us. To me, all of those comfort factors are worth the price tag.
You know, you are new to pulling a rig and you want to get a big one, I would say yes.
Yeah.
If you have some experience of pulling a big rig and you're just wanting to try something new, go for it. But, you know, if you have that experience and you know how to handle it, then potentially you don't need it. One of the things that the Hensley hitch does do is make your rig a foot longer. Sometimes they do have to extend the power from your camper to the actual tow vehicle. Pretty minor. It does add some weight to the truck because it does weigh a significant amount. If you're really close on your weight, like, you wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah. If you have a specific question about it, be sure to drop it in the comments below, and we will be glad to answer it, because it is a big purchase, and, you know, we had questions about it that, you know, we kind of still had unanswered when we bought it, but we decided to go ahead and take the leap and get it, so we would love to answer those questions for you. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and click that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss one of our videos and get notifications, and we'll see you on the trail.